Somewhere between your bedroom and kitchen, your brain might have just gone through what doctors call a silent stroke warning, and you had no idea it even happened. It occurs in 8 out of 10 seniors each and every morning. And today, I'm going to explain exactly how to protect your brain starting tomorrow. I'm Dr. Bill Harrison, a neurologist and stroke expert, and what I'm about to reveal might completely change the way you look at your mornings. The daily habits that seem totally normal, even good for you, may quietly be setting your brain up for serious trouble. While you're brushing your teeth or starting your coffee, your blood pressure might be spiking, your arteries may be stiffening, and your brain could be fighting to get the oxygen it truly needs. What you'll discover here has helped many of my older patients turn their mornings from risky to protective. If you're past 60 and want to protect your memory, your independence, and your life, make sure you follow along closely. Today, I'll show you 7 everyday morning habits that secretly raise stroke risk in people over 60. And more importantly, I'll guide you step by step through the brain, safe morning routine that could cut that risk in half. But before we jump into those habits, let me tell you about something that happened in my emergency room just a few weeks ago. An event that completely changed how I look at morning behavior. Margaret walked into my ER at 8:30 a.m. on a Tuesday. She's 67, a retired school teacher, practices yoga 3 times a week, takes her prescriptions as scheduled. She seemed to be someone doing all the right things. But that morning, she suddenly collapsed while preparing breakfast. Her husband found her lying on the kitchen floor, confused, unable to speak properly, and with no strength in her right arm. By the time paramedics got her to us, her symptoms had mostly faded. But I knew exactly what had happened. Margaret had experienced what's called a transient ischemic attack, mini stroke. What shocked me most was when I asked Margaret to go over her exact morning routine. She listed 7 habits that millions of older adults do daily, assuming they're harmless. But after we adjusted just those 7 things, Margaret hasn't had a single issue in the past 3 months. Now, before I reveal those habits, I need you to understand why the hour after you wake up is the most dangerous time of day for your brain. Here's something most people don't know about stroke timing. Your brain doesn't randomly decide to have a stroke in the middle of the afternoon. A major study by the American Heart Association in 2023 revealed that strokes happen more often between 6:00 a.m. and 10:00 a.m., with the highest risk in the first 2 hours after waking. This means your brain is especially at risk during the transition from sleep to being fully awake. At night, your blood pressure drops, your heart rate slows down, and your blood becomes slightly thicker. When you wake up, your body has to quickly adjust blood flow, oxygen delivery, and blood pressure to meet the demands of the day. For older adults with less flexible blood vessels, this sudden shift can overwhelm the brain's blood supply. The 7 morning habits I'm going to talk about don't just affect your energy or mood. They directly influence how well your brain gets the blood and oxygen it needs during this sensitive transition. And if you're over 60, these small habits could quietly be pushing you toward a serious stroke. So what was Margaret doing each morning that made her brain so vulnerable? Let's begin with the first habit that's happening in countless bedrooms right now. Margaret prided herself on being someone who didn't waste time in the morning. As soon as her alarm rang, she was up and walking within seconds. Maybe this sounds familiar to you, but here's what Margaret didn't understand. When you quickly go from lying down to standing after sleeping for 7 or 8 hours, your blood pressure can drop suddenly by 20 points or more. This is known as orthostatic hypotension. For the next 15 seconds, Your brain doesn't receive enough oxygen, rich blood. You might feel a head rush, see tunnel vision, or feel like your knees are weak. That's not just a strange feeling. It's your brain waving a red flag. The simple fix is what I call the 90-second method. When you wake up, take 10 seconds for deep breaths, 20 seconds to move your ankles and hands gently to get blood flowing, 20 seconds to sit up slowly, then 40 seconds with your feet on the floor before standing. Margaret told me that once she started doing this, the dizziness she used to feel in the mornings vanished. She thought it was just part of aging, but really, it was her brain crying out for help. If you've ever felt lightheaded when standing up in the morning, type dizzy in the comments. You're not alone, and you're not imagining things. The second habit involves skipping water and going straight for your cup of coffee. That was Margaret's routine. Coffee first, everything else after. What she didn't know is that after a full night of sleep, your body is already a little dehydrated, about 1% down in fluids. That makes your blood thicker and harder to move through your vessels. Add coffee's tightening effect on your blood vessels, and you've got the perfect storm. I had another patient, David, age 71, who came in complaining that his heart was racing every morning after his coffee. We checked his hydration and found that his blood was so thick in the morning. His heart had to work extra hard just to pump it through his body. The fix: drink about 8 ounces of room temperature water before any caffeine. Add a tiny bit of lemon juice or a pinch of sea salt to help with faster absorption. David's heart stopped racing within a week. The third habit involves eating breakfast foods that seem healthy, but are loaded with hidden sodium. Margaret was having instant oatmeal and whole grain toast every morning, believing she was making smart choices. What she didn't know is that these foods often contain 300 to 400 milligrams of sodium each. Stack a couple of them together, and you've already hit 600 milligrams before you even start your day. That added pressure goes straight to the tiniest blood vessels in your brain. I worked with a patient named Sarah, age 73, who had blood pressure readings over 140/90 just half an hour after breakfast. When we switched her instant oats for plain rolled oats and added fresh fruit, her morning blood pressure dropped by 20 points. The goal is to keep morning sodium intake below 300 milligrams. Try focusing on mostly fruits and vegetables with a smaller portion of whole grains or protein. Next is drinking multiple cups of black coffee before eating anything. Margaret used to drink 2 big mugs of coffee on an empty stomach, thinking it would help her get going. But all it did was trigger a huge adrenaline spike, up to 60%. That caused her blood vessels to tighten and her pulse to rise. I treated a man named Thomas, 69 years old, who came to the ER several times thinking he was having heart attacks. Turns out it was coffee-related acid reflux. The solution isn't giving up coffee. It's eating something first. Even a few almonds, a banana, or a boiled egg can act as a buffer. Then limit yourself to 1 cup, about 150 mg of caffeine, and wait 30 minutes before refilling. Now, the habit that concerns me the most is ignoring little signs like dizziness, slurred speech, or a numb hand in the morning. Margaret admitted that some mornings she couldn't find the right words or her hand would feel weak. She brushed it off as grogginess, but those were actually mini strokes, small warnings that a bigger one could be near. These aren't harmless. They're your brain's emergency alerts. If you ever have trouble speaking, a weak grip, or a drooping face, even if it only lasts a few minutes, treat it as a medical emergency. Remember the acronym FAST: face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty, time to call for help. Even if everything returns to normal, write down what happened and call your doctor right away. Margaret's minor symptoms were warnings that a major stroke could strike next. Ignoring them would have been a huge mistake. Another habit involves taking all your morning medications together, and sometimes washing them down with coffee. Margaret used to take her blood pressure pills, thyroid meds, and aspirin all at once, with her first mug of coffee. But mixing medications and caffeine can lead to big problems. For example, blood pressure pills taken with caffeine can either spike or crash your readings. Green tea with beta blockers can drop blood pressure dangerously low. I had a patient named Ruth, 75, whose pressure dropped below 100/60 just 1 hour after taking her morning pills with coffee. The best approach: use a pill organizer with reminders. Read the instructions on every medication. Some should be taken with food, others not with caffeine. Space out the ones that interact by at least half an hour. Medications protect you only if they're taken the right way. The last habit is one that many people don't think about: staying in bed scrolling through your phone, even when you need to use the bathroom. Margaret used to check emails and news before getting up, even if she felt the urge to urinate. She thought waiting a few minutes was fine. But I had another patient, Frank, age 68, who noticed his heart would suddenly pound hard when he finally got up. Holding in urine raises your blood pressure fast. So, head to the bathroom within 5 minutes of waking. And if you're getting up more than twice a night, reduce your liquid intake 2 hours before bed, and talk to your doctor about prostate health or medication timing. Now do a quick check-in with yourself. I'll list 5 signs that your morning habits could be affecting your brain. Count how many apply to you. 1. Late headedness or tunnel vision when you first get up. 2. Heart racing or fluttering after your first coffee. 3. Blood pressure over 140/90 within 30 minutes of breakfast. 4. Any speech hiccups, hand weakness, or numbness that lasts less than 10 minutes. 5. Sudden hard heartbeats when finally getting out of bed. If you said yes to 2 or more, your current routine might be harming your brain. But the good news is, we can start improving this tomorrow. Remember Margaret, the woman who collapsed while making breakfast. 6 months after making these changes, she told me something that stuck with me. She said, "Doctor, I wake up and my brain actually feels ready now. No more fog, no more dizziness. I feel sharper than I have in a long time." Here's exactly what Margaret does now, and what I recommend to all my patients over 60. First, she gets ready the night before. She places a glass of water, her pill box, and her odium breakfast items on the counter. When your brain is sleepy, don't leave important decisions to chance. Second, she follows the 90-second waking method. Deep breathing, small movements, slow sitting, then standing. This gives her body the time it needs to safely adjust. Third, she drinks water, eats a little protein, then has her coffee, always in that order. Fourth, she tracks her blood pressure and symptoms each morning for a week. Trends matter more than single numbers. Finally, she shares this with a friend or family member so someone else can watch for early signs of stroke too. Knowing someone else is watching out for you could save your life. Small steps taken daily matter more than big changes done once. Your brain will feel the difference first, then your energy, then your peace of mind that you're really protecting your future. The routine you follow tomorrow morning will either strengthen your brain or put it in harm's way. There's no neutral when it comes to stroke prevention after age 60. If this helped you understand even one risk you didn't know about, hit like and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And before you go, type in the number of the one habit you'll change tomorrow and tag a friend to do it too. That small act could protect not just your brain, but theirs as well. Remember, this stroke prevention isn't about being perfect. It's about knowing your risks and making better choices. You have more power than you realize, and it begins with your first hour of the day. This content is meant for educational purposes and should not replace medical advice. Always talk to your doctor before changing your medications or if you notice anything unusual. One simple truth to remember: take care of your morning and you take care of your brain. Would you like an SEO optimized YouTube description and hashtags for this video next? I want to share something else Margaret told me recently. She said that changing her mornings didn't just protect her brain, it changed how she felt about her whole day. She said she used to wake up feeling nervous, uncertain, foggy. Now she feels in control, she feels prepared, she feels hopeful, and to me that's everything. Because protecting your brain isn't just about avoiding strokes. It's about protecting your freedom, your ability to remember your grandchildren's name, your ability to cook a meal, read a book, laugh at a joke, walk in the garden, or pick up the phone when someone you love calls. It's not just about health, it's about quality of life. And all of that starts the moment your eyes open in the morning. So let's go one layer deeper. Beyond just habits, let's talk about mindset. Most people over 60 have been told for years that aging means decline, that your body will fail, that memory will fade, that disease is just a matter of time. But what I've seen again and again is this: it's not true. The brain is more flexible, more resilient, more capable of healing than most people ever realize. And one of the greatest keys to protecting your brain is consistency. It's not about doing something big once. It's about doing something small every day, waking up slowly, drinking your water, taking your medicine properly, eating with intention. It's simple, but simple is powerful when it's done every day. Let me tell you about another patient. His name is Robert. He's 74. He came to me with brain fog, poor balance, and rising blood pressure. He was worried about dementia. After looking closely, we found no signs of cognitive disease. What we found was that Robert had 5 out of 7 of the habits we talked about earlier. He was jumping out of bed, skipping water, drinking 2 coffees on an empty stomach, ignoring lightheadedness, taking all his meds together with coffee. I worked with him for 4 weeks. We didn't add any new medications. We just changed his morning. 6 weeks later, Robert came back and said, "Doc, I feel like someone gave me a new head." His thinking was clearer. His balance was better. His blood pressure had dropped. But most of all, his confidence had returned. That's what's possible when you take your morning seriously. Because your brain does not get a fresh start every day. It builds on yesterday, so what you do today becomes part of your brain's tomorrow. Your choices create either protection or pressure. You get to decide, and this isn't just about avoiding strokes. The same changes that protect your brain also protect your heart, your kidneys, your mood, and your energy levels. Drinking water lowers pressure. Eating protein before caffeine stabilizes blood sugar. Stretching before standing prevents falls. Tracking symptoms helps your doctor spot issues early. This is about total health, and it begins with a few steps. Steps you can take without equipment, without fancy supplements, without going to the gym. Just awareness, just action, just commitment. Some people ask me, is it too late? My answer is always the same. It's never too late to make a better choice. I've seen 80-year-olds change their routines and feel better in 2 weeks. I've seen people come back from the edge of stroke risk with nothing more than better mornings. But you have to start. You have to care enough to do the small things that add up to something big. And if you're thinking, it's just one habit, it's just one morning. Let me gently remind you, so was Margaret's stroke. It started with one moment, one shift in blood flow, one confused word, and then a life changed forever. But we have the power to prevent that. You have the power. Right now, so here's what I want you to do next. Tonight, take a moment and set yourself up. Put a glass of water by your bed. Lay out a simple, low-sodium breakfast. Organize your pills so there's no confusion. Write down the 90-second wake-up steps. Set a note in your phone that says, "Slow down, breathe, protect your brain." It might sound small, but this small act can ripple out in ways you can't imagine. And if you're living with someone, your spouse, your sibling, your caregiver, show them this video. Let them know what changes you're making and why. Let them support you. Let them look out for signs, because brain protection is not a solo journey. We're all in this together, and the more of us who understand, the more lives we can protect. Not just our own, but our loved ones too. This is my mission, not just to treat strokes after they happen, but to stop them before they begin. And I know it's possible. I've seen it work. I've watched lives change, and I believe yours can too. So promise me this. Tomorrow morning, when you open your eyes, don't just reach for your phone. Don't jump out of bed. Don't race toward coffee or forget your water. Instead, pause, breathe, sit up slow. Give your brain the gentle, loving start it deserves. You've made it through a lifetime of mornings. Now make the next one count. Because your brain is worth protecting. Your life is worth protecting. And it starts, not someday, not next week, but tomorrow morning with the very first thing you do. You're not too old. You're not too late. You're just one morning away from a healthier brain. If this message moved you, pass it on. Tag someone you care about. Tell them the one habit you're changing. And together, let's protect what matters most. Because the truth is simple. The more we respect our mornings, the more we protect our memories, our stories, and the people we love. Now breathe, hydrate, stand slow, choose life. Your brain will thank you.